quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting edition of Tabletop Gold. This is episode 125. My name is Lars Casteen. You can call me the Golden Tyrant for short, and I'm joined tonight by four just great folks. David, the Tin Man Chernicoff, is here.
Good that time, Lars.
Good that time. Zoe Chernicoff is here.
Good that time, everyone.
Good that time. Armad Humphreys is here.
Good that time.
And Robin Lange is also here.
Good all times.
Good all times. Mm-hmm. Last week, we discussed Pokemon Go, a mobile application enjoyed by Zoe Chernicoff, maybe questioned by David the Tin Man Chernicoff. Maybe the vibe I take away from it. Maybe I'm mischaracterizing David. I apologize if that's what I'm doing. And is that what I'm doing? Okay.
No, it's probably a grain of truth to that. I don't know. Not entirely. I'm not against it.
But I didn't say that. I said you were questioning it.
Are you cuckoo for Pikachu?
That's a great question.
I'm enjoying it too.
Do you have Morel Mania?
It's a multifaceted prospect procedure.
Sure. Okay, good. This is good. And Robin Lange was a prior enjoyer of this game who has stepped away from it and has nostalgic memories for Pokemon. I'm just catching you up on the Pokemon Go continuity if you were snoozing last week. So, we had an assignment. The assignment was install Pokemon Go and become addicted to it.
Give it all your data.
Yeah, give them all your data. I did that assignment. Did everybody else do this assignment? Have people been doing the Pokemon Go or...
I may have forgotten.
Okay, Armad Humphreys. Asleep
Gonna
at the
do
wheel.
the assignment next
I'm
week.
signing up now. I'm doing it.
Okay, we're going to get some...
He's
Come back
giving
to
them
me.
his data, Lars. What more do you want?
I don't
I'm
know what else
catching
I
a
wanted.
Lickitung as we speak.
Oh, wow. Oh, let's see who's
snap.
around.
I
Good
can't
luck.
believe a Lickitung showed up in my backyard.
It's unreal, right? It's just the...
I need
what
need the stone to evolve them. I got a bunch of Lickitungs that could be evolved, but I don't have the right stone. It's very frustrating.
I've not caught one in a while. It's very exciting.
Maybe I want to start then with Robin because Robin has the freshest perspective of being a returnee to Pokemon Go. How did your last week with this, the most addictive application known to mankind,
Oh,
go?
cool. I just hatched a new Pokemon that I didn't know. I'm being reminded as to why when I got a new phone, I made an active decision not to re-download this.
Sure, I get it.
But so it's a mix. This game is so addictive. I was lying in bed for 2 hours last night doing league battles. But B, I've also gone for so many more walks recently.
Oh.
To get out of the house to go and catch them in my neighborhood. Because since I live I'm 2 blocks from the main downtown of town, there's always so much there and all these Pokestops and all these gyms. So I just go out for a walk and I get to all of them. And it's really nice, actually. It forces me out of the house. So I'm torn.
That's something that I saw when I opened the app over this last week that I hadn't seen before. People, I guess, define paths that you can take and you walk along the path. And if you do that, you get a bonus to stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just going to cut right to the chase. I'm going to give you my hot Pokemon Go take if I can. I just want to... I'm going to try to...
That's the whole reason
Okay.
we're here. We want to hear you not like it.
I can't... Strap in. I can't get into this game because I open my phone, I see these Pokemon and I catch them and I'm like, these aren't real, right? Like the Pokemon aren't real.
Of all the takes, I did not see they aren't real coming.
Let me finish my sentence. They're not.
Okay,
Wait, let me finish my sentence. Okay, go ahead, David. I'll finish my sentence after your question.
So we're not only going to spoil Pokemon Go as a bonus episode topic, we're also spoiling NFTs at the same time. We're clearing out the whole cache.
Well, I got burned really bad on a bunch of apes. I gave them too many slurp juices. It really blew up in my face.
No, wait.
And
My understanding vis-a-vis the ratio there is that it's a one-to-many situation.
Yeah, well, that's what they tell you. But you can I'm living proof that you can overdo it. You can go overboard on
You're
slurp
now speaking
juices.
a language I don't understand.
For those of you who don't know, there's an iconic meme where this weirdo talked about feeding. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
All right, back to the show.
So the Pokemon aren't real like they are in the other video games, is the argument that I'm making. The other, when you play like another...
Okay.
When you're playing like a Pokemon Gold, a Pokemon Ruby, even a Pokemon Sword or Shield, you have to like go into the grass, creep up on the Pokemon, use your current collection of Pokemon to wear them down into the orange or the red, and then you have to spend your hard-earned great balls or whatever to
A fire?
catch them. Yeah, potentially
Goodness
a great
gracious.
ball of fire. A reference from 1953, flying.
I like to
under-
keep it current and topical.
Ooh, feels good.
Ooh, feels good. So
It's too easy to catch them?
that's part of it, but it's symptomatic. It is part of the equation that doesn't add up to me. When I catch a Pokemon in real life, which is to say when I'm playing a video game on my
video game
Nintendo
on your
Switch,
television.
Yes.
Yeah.
there's like over the course of a game, you maybe catch like 100 to 150 Pokemon, and each one means something. I'm not catching a million Tauroses like I am in Pokemon Go. It's frivolous. It's like bubbles floating through the air. It's like the end of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where they're trying to catch the bubbles as they're floating up. It's not, but I'm used to Pokemon being a meal. Do you get what I mean? I'm used to a steak.
Well, that took a turn.
Okay. Well, not literally, but maybe. I would try it.
You don't like Charmander fricassee?
But do you get what
It's
I'm
no
saying?
gooey
It's
duck.
like it's just too easy. It's just too cheap. It doesn't sink its teeth into me. And it's not a criticism of the game. It's more of a confession of my own.
I weirdly get what you mean.
Okay, I don't like
And
the
I just-
judgment inherent in that sentence. But,
Got it.
okay.
And I think it's just because it's a different game that's just kind of using the same IP is essentially how I look at it.
So
Okay.
the one thing about the game that I find strange, so I've never played any of or we don't have a video game unit at our house. I've not played any of the actual video games you're talking about. I agree, as I understand these pocket monsters, that catching fewer of them makes sense. But in Pokemon Go, to like level them up, you need candies. I don't know if that's how it works in the video game or not.
You make them fight.
Yeah.
You make
the
them
fighting
battle
makes them
each other.
better. That makes sense.
Or
They
you leave
develop
them at a
skills.
daycare where they magically have babies with each other. It's messed
So
up.
there, right, in Pokemon Go, there are a couple of ways you can get these candies, and different ones take different numbers. If you make it your buddy, you can. When you catch it, you get a few. If you make it your buddy, you walk 1,000,000 miles and you get a candy. So that's not sustainable, unless you're Robin. Or you can harvest that kind of Pokemon, as many as you can find, and just then they call it like transfer them, and it's like you're transferring
you
it
keep
to the
sending them to
scientist.
Professor Oak.
Yeah, which
And
just
God knows what he
feels
does
like-
with them.
Yeah, exactly. You're sending them like to the Pokemon farm where they run happily ever after or whatever. But it's the only way to like evolve these things. So, that does feel. I feel like that's a different side of the thing you're talking about, Lars, which is like you go out and they're supposed to. They want you to catch thousands of these things, right?
The thing that you're saying is crystallizing for me the question that I have about this game. At the end of Pokemon Sun, my Incineroar that I had raised from a mere Litten was my friend. Do you become friends with your Pokemon in Pokemon Go? Zoe Chernicoff.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
you can.
Okay. All right. I'll give it a shot. I'll keep trying.
They even they give you little presents.
Yeah, you need a buddy. I've noticed on your when I go to your user thing, you don't have a buddy attached to you.
Yeah, I don't know anything about a buddy.
Allow me to recommend that you make it a Magikarp because it's a sideways fish that just flops around after you.
That's what I have right now.
It's so good. Just like
and you need like 400 candies to evolve the Magikarp into Gyarados.
Into Gyarados. Yeah.
Lars is about to tell us he's already deleted the whole thing. From his phone.
I deleted my account. I'm out. No, I'll keep trying it.
I'm waiting for you to send me back gifts. Thank you very much.
I don't know how to do that. None of it's real. I don't believe in any of it.
I mean,
my heart is cold.
Lars.
Yes.
Imagine if you adopted like thousands and thousands of children.
Okay.
Would you get
sounds like
attached?
heaven.
Would you get attached to all of them?
No, I get what you're saying. Right. Yeah.
But would you get attached to none of them? So that's the right way to think about it.
Now listen here, orphans.
Yeah. Like
Okay,
just think
that's
of it
an
as like
interesting point.
discarding a lot of children that otherwise you could get attached to. And
All right. Well, I'll give
all right.
I'll give Pokemon another shot, and I'll adopt a few children just to see how that feels.
There you go.
Armat, you've had Pokemon Go installed now for probably 6 minutes. How do you feel
Yes,
about it?
correct. I remember why I didn't get into this before. Especially of late, I don't like having my phone in front of me for hours and hours. It ups
Yeah.
my anxiety and stress way too high. So, and like giving it the app access to my like health account, which admittedly not like a lot of data you can get there because I have an ancient phone and, haven't updated it in years, but I'm excited to try and walk around out here and like discover a tree stump that is my like local, gym.
What if you get there and there's like 500 weirdos just like waiting for you? They're
all
like,
just standing there with their phones.
yeah, they're like, Armat, we've been expecting you.
Based on your health data.
Yeah. Your health data foretold this.
Well, let me tell you, things are looking up in my health data because I found a healthy community.
Yeah, there it is.
Does that joke work?
There
Hey,
it is.
you
I
know
don't
what?
know if it
Speaking of
works.
healthy communities, I want to thank the community of people that enjoy our program, that listen every week, and that take the time to leave reviews for us. It's extremely helpful. It's a very nice thing that people do. It's nice to read them, one, and it's also nice because it helps tell the algorithm that we're a show that other people should listen to. So I appreciate this on all levels. We got this review on Apple Podcasts from K. Joseph that says, Tabletop Gold introduced a phrase that I'm certain will be the word of the century. Nyang nyang bonobo. Don't be left behind in the cultural revolution. Say nyang nyang bo, yes bo, to Tabletop Gold and see what everyone is talking about. So thank you so much
For it.
to K. Joseph for that lovely review. It warmed my dumb little heart to read that review. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Also, this is episode 125. That means a few different things. One, hero points are getting reset. Hero point cards are getting reset. And it's time for us to tell you about what's going on right now in the Tabletop Gold Extended Cinematic Universe. The big news continues to be that Armat and I are playing Baldur's Gate 3. It is a great game. Everybody loves this game. I am struggling in some ways to understand how the game works. And it's been maybe a comical time to see me stepping on a rake every single week and get bashed in the face with a piece of wood, metaphorically. If that's something that you're interested in, check us out on Twitch, check us out on YouTube. We've been playing on Wednesdays. So if you're hearing this on Monday, you set your alarm for 48 hours from now and hang out with us as we play Baldur's Gate 3. Our website, you can find it, www.tabletopgold.com. Find out more about our show, about us. You can see character art. You can find merch. It's a great time. Check it out if you haven't done so. You can find a link to our Discord there. You can submit hero point cards there. That's also super fun. And also our community is, I think, legitimately the best community. It's like a thing that I overhype sometimes being like, it's the best, but it actually is the best. So come on by and say hi and hang out because it rules.
Oh, yeah.
And there we go. That's what's happening right now. Stay tuned for more news in the near future. But for now, let's get into it. Let's play our game. An extended preparatory stay in the town of Otari has seemingly culminated in a 3-day-long occult investigation / slumber party with the purpose of uncovering more information about the malady afflicting burgeoning teenage psychic Doriana Menhemez. Over 3 strenuous days of mental exploration, arcane calculations, and underage drinking, you've gained some new knowledge about the motley man, a denizen of Lange named Isand Kalir. And more importantly, you've gotten your hands on a new tool. The large red Lange ruby that Isand Kalir had used to drag Doriana into the plane of dreams. With a little magic and a lot of effort, you'll be able to reverse the energies of that Lange ruby to instead locate Isand Kalir and perhaps put an end to Doriana's torment. Now, as the summer sun beats down heavily on this sleepy seaside town, you prepare to take the next steps in your quest. Like I just mentioned, this is a hot day. This is Serenith the 28th. It's the hottest day of the year, maybe the hottest day this town has had in living memory. It's a high of 115 degrees. There are gusts of wind starting to provide some relief just after sundown, which is around when this 3rd day of investigation of Doriana Menhemez comes to a close. As you realize that the Lange ruby is this possible locator for the motley man, for Isand Kalir, the denizen of Lange, you realize that Doriana's right hand has continued to slowly and subtly shrink away over the course of the time that you've spent with her. So the clock is ticking. But how do you react to this realization about the ruby? I'll say that as the ruby falls to the ground, Mayor Menhemez reinserts himself into the conversation. He's been watching from the corner of the room, giving you time and space to carry out this like very odd investigation over these 3 days. And as that Lange ruby falls to the ground, he steps forward and he says, "What? We knew about the ruby. What is happening?" And he looks desperate, wide-eyed, hungry for answers. So what do you do?
Well, what do you think, Istan? Do you think that this is like, because I guess Istan was helping, Trill was really the one who was kind of there and saw everything.
Well,
she was
yeah.
the one who kind of was transported.
Totally, yeah.
So
I feel like he was more her like NASA guy at the computer kind of thing, being like,
you were Houston.
"What are you seeing? Is there enough fuel? Apollo 13 reference here."
So I think Trill would. You okay there,
These
David?
placeholder references are really hard to keep up with for me, and I'm not even.
It's
from
so
the
funny,
universe.
right?
I'm really on
It's like
the ball today.
Armand, I know exactly that feeling of like you only get as far as deciding what you're going to reference, and then the reference just doesn't come.
Because the obvious reference is too obvious. What are you going to say? Houston, we have a problem? It doesn't even
Right,
apply
right.
to the situation at hand.
I was actually thinking of the scene where he like dumps all the junk on the table. Like you gotta make
that's what
this
this is.
from this.
That's what this is. You dump the junk on
Yeah.
the table. The two of you together rip open this teddy bear, and the Lange ruby falls there. So there's your Apollo 13 reference. We did it.
We did it.
If I just reverse the polarities in the arcane limbic weave here, I think I can make it.
But actually, I think like that's kind of what happens. Like Trill is looking, going, I know we can figure that this is useful now. This is more than just something that's tormenting Doriana. This can help us find him. But I feel like it's more of an instant thing to figure out the magic behind it.
Well, let me tell you a little something about the magic of this thing, because I kind of left it vague at the end of the last session. The deal with this ruby is that you can spend 10 minutes focusing on it once per day, and the ruby casts the locate spell at 5th level on Isand Kalir. And here's what locate at 5th level does. You learn the direction of the target. So what that means is that at the time that you focus on the ruby, it is going to start pulling you up, down, left, right, whatever direction Isand Kalir is in. So if you were to use it in town, that's of moderate use. It'll just point you to a general place. But the closer you get to where you believe Isand Kalir is, the more useful that concrete information from the ruby is going to be.
So obviously, we're gonna just go use it in Absalom, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You go to Absalom, you use it, it says west. Back in town, one more day. Nuts.
Worth a shot.
Worth a shot.
Manifest Dreamland.
So the mayor looks towards you again and says, So what does this mean? And he looks at the group, and there's a moment of tenderness from him, and he says, and more importantly, how are the four of you doing? This has been a extreme sort of meeting of the minds that I have been watching for the last 72 hours.
I'm just thinking about how you felt in high school when you had a single night sleepover, and we've just done a triple of that. So I feel like no one is at their sharpest, right?
Yeah.
What a great point. Like
Like
yeah,
we're
that
all,
feeling
we're all like
of,
a little matted and kind of like out of sorts.
yeah, I feel like after a slumber party, you emerge into a different world almost. It's like the morning looks different from the previous day.
I think Trill would point out she's
This means that we actually have a better way now to find who's tormenting Doriana. And I'm so excited, but I think I need a nap.
like that's where Trill is.
Is this going to be like that thing where you went back to your parents with your laundry and then you slept for 2.5 days?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, I think this is exactly the same.
Well, the sun is going down right now. You do see sweat pouring down the face of the mayor, given how hot it is. So the mayor says, oh, of course, you've done so much. Get some rest. Get some rest if that's what you need. Okay.
Yeah.
So the four of you leave Doriana behind as she continues wandering around the house. And as you're leaving, the mayor can't resist. He has to ask one more question. He says, why? Why Doriana? Why is this happening to her?
That's something we're going to find out. I have some theories, but...
Well, what are your theories? Tell me, please.
Trying to say Trill wants to like. I feel like Trill's worried about overwhelming the mayor.
Yeah, he looks like he's maybe hanging on.
I think all you need to worry about right now is keeping an eye on her and doing what you've been doing. You don't need any more.
Do you think it's something that I did?
You?
I think Trill pauses and puts aside any sort of judgment she may have of the mayor, through having been in Otari for a little bit now, and decides to go the path of calm, soothing support, just to make the situation easier, and tries to assuage his doubts.
You're a great father. You care so much for your children. You should not worry about whether any of this was your fault. I don't think you could have prevented any of this.
I just worry sometimes that I spend so much time running the business. I spend so much time on my duties as mayor that maybe I should have seen this coming.
I don't think there's any way anyone could have.
And with that, Ao, who was in the bathroom brushing her teeth with her finger because she didn't bring a toothbrush with her, but she's finally feeling kind of grimy, comes out, sort of overhears this as she's leaving the bathroom and turns into Norman, walks up, throws an arm around the mayor and goes, "It's not you. It's that we think he goes after people with 4-syllable names."
But all of my children, aside from Bartolomeo, have 4-syllable names.
Well, you should change them. You're the mayor.
And she'll just shakes her head and walks away.
You see him turn to the kitchen as he has a somber conversation with his wife, Imnala. You overhear as you're slipping out the door. "We have to change the names, Imnala. We have to change all the names."
Contact the attorney.
In the background of all this happening, I think Isthan is finding a piece of s'more in his beard and is like, "Oh, still good."
The mayor nods at Isthan and says, "Thank you," and then sort of motions subtly towards his face, trying to indicate where the s'more is.
Oh, all right. Great.
Thank you for what you've done. Please, hurry. If you have a way to help her, please help her.
Right. Yeah. No, I know Trill is very motivated to do so, and we'll get this fixed for you and for Doriana.
And as you step out of the mayor's mansion and you look down on the seaside, you see that the beach around the southern side of town, looking onto the docks, is crowded with the residents of town, trying to find relief from the heat in the water. You see families carrying tired children home from a day, just desperately trying to get some relief from this heat in the town's waters between the Dawnflower Library and the docks. Do you feel like have you gained enough from this stay at town, these investigations with Doriana, the retraining, etc.? Is it time to head back to the dungeon?
Yeah, I would think after all the stuff that we've accomplished in town these 13 days, Trill's ready.
Okay.
It's yeah. Either we're going to turn on the ruby and start following its very, very gentle nudges in some direction, or we're going back to the dungeon. And I think
although maybe it's still night, so maybe we just nap overnight first and then do first thing in the morning.
Yeah, right. Sure. You nap overnight, of course.
Yeah.
Sleep
we
overnight.
head to the dungeon at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
That always ends well.
But I just want to make it clear. You get one nudge on the ruby per day.
Right.
You have to decide where the
Where
nudge
to be,
is.
Yeah.
when to. Okay.
Okay.
Checks
Well,
out.
should we do a nudge while we're in town before we go to sleep? Just because it's like free
I
information.
think it's just going to tell
Oh,
us
that's a
to
good
go
call.
to the northwest.
How about we let it tell us that rather than assuming that? I mean, you're probably right. I don't disagree on the substance, but we might as well If we're about to just go to sleep anyway and wake up in the morning and go do the thing, I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay, who's activating the ruby? It takes 10 minutes. As, again, you look down onto the water and you see the town. Finally, the wind's starting to blow some cooler air into this stifling atmosphere. Who's going to be spending 10 minutes focusing on the ruby?
I know I've been doing a lot of talking, but I have this like really cool image in my mind right now of Trill standing kind of on a hill overlooking the water, like making sure she can work the ruby correctly. And as she gets the ruby to work, like this energy radiates from it and it blows wind around her, and like the ribbons in her hair are like floating above her, and there's this red energy from the ruby illuminating her.
Absolutely. You're lit from below as her hair is blown back. You're holding the ruby. And after 10 minutes of focusing, the image of Isan clear as you focus harder and harder and harder on where he is. And David's right. It pulls you towards the dungeon. He's in the dungeon is where it pulls you.
Oh, no, that was Robin's.
Oh,
that was
sorry,
Robin's
Robin, you
call.
were right.
All Robin.
It pulls you to the dungeon. So, you are confident that the next
Wait,
day...
he was one of those Mifflets? This is confusing.
Who's actually Boss Scrong.
He was Boss Scrong, and he's back.
We're fighting Boss Scrong's ghost.
Right, he's tiny. You didn't give us a banana for scale.
Oh, yeah. Right. The image of Isan Clear is he's holding on to an enormous banana. So the ruby pulls you gently towards the lighthouse in the distance as this wind whips around Trill and a breeze starts to blow into town, telling you for certain that tomorrow will take you back to the Abomination vaults. As you guys are settling in for the night, there are just a couple of extra things that I want to talk about before we hit the next day. We skip past some of that time in town. There's some additional things that happened that I just want to cover, just so that you, the listener, know what it is that was going on, because we know that Ao was retraining some skills. We know that Mag was doing some crafting at the Blades for Glades. We know about Trill's investigation of the Doriana story, her conversation with Alimora Inkelholtz. But there's something that Istin did during that downtime that we talked about off mic that I just want to cover right now. Armat, what is it that Istin did during some of that downtime?
Yeah, so Istin took a couple days and went into Absalom to have, the runes scribed on his staff and get a couple of property runes inscribed into his spell book. So he could now have a Bane rune for fiends and a disrupting rune for undead. And the cool thing about the student of the staff feat,
which is a feat that you have. That's a feat that you took when you created Istin. You took this student of the staff, which is a Magus feat that lets you treat runes a little bit differently from most people.
Yeah, you could actually, I believe, inscribe property runes onto a staff because you get them put inside your spell book where they occupy a page like a spell would. And then at the start of every day when you make your daily preparations, not only can you prepare your spells, but you can choose from all the property runes inscribed in your spell book which runes you want to be using for that day. So
that's
since
awesome.
We're going after a floor here that feels like fiends, Istin is going to have the fiend rune probably most of the time while we're on this floor. But if there's undead, he's got the disrupting rune. So, watch this space because I hopefully will be getting enough gold to invest in more runes. Sweet runes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like every day a wizard prepares spells from their spell book. And just like that, every day you're able to take property runes and make them part of your attacking because you're this like magical attack, like martial hybrid, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It really gets to the flavor of the class fantasy, I feel like, is that like you're adaptable, which is what I always wanted Istin to be, so that he's kind of always your perfect pickup player. He can jump in and play whatever role you need him to at any point.
There's one more thing I want to talk about Istin's trip to Absalom. Istin's staying at his mother's house or apartment because Istin's mother still lives in Absalom.
Yeah.
And there's one item that we were talking about that it sounded like Trill wanted Istin to purchase.
Yeah, when Trill found out that Istin was headed to Absalom to visit his mom and do some shopping, she runs up to him and lets him know, oh, wait. And like as she's running up, she's got like this catalog waving around in her hands, like, oh, Istin, before you go, I've got this. I just saw this amazing thing in this catalog. And so she asks Istin to pick her up a wig of holding. I think so. Remember, so Trill's got like all these dark streaks in her hair from those nightmares she's had. And I think I feel like those are stuck in her hair. She can't seem to get them out. And as a gnome, like change and variety is the spice of her life. And the fact that she can't adjust her hair anymore is driving her kind of insane. And so she gives Istin this task to get her this insane looking wig.
I was going to ask, what does it look like? Do you have an image of this wig in your mind? Like, I would love to.
Well, I imagine, like any good wig store, there's going to be a variety of wigs.
Right, yeah.
And so I think since she can't see what's necessarily there, she would say to Istin,
Get me whichever is either the brightest or the most surprising.
I feel like Trill needs a wig that can change colors itself.
I mean, if it could, I feel like the wig of holding has the fact, maybe because it's interdimensional, it could change colors.
And what does the wig of holding do? Let's tell that for people.
It changes colors.
So it's a wig that's created from planar fibers, and it can actually hold 4 items of light bulk inside. It essentially creates extra dimensional spaces within the wig. And it's kind of cool because rather than having, like, if she has something in her backpack she has to take the backpack out and then go into it. So it's 2 actions, but the wig of holding, because she's had to shove her hand in her wig, it's only 1 action to pull something out of it.
Which is phenomenal.
So much.
So good.
The catalog that Trill finds it in, and the shop that Istin has to go to, is in the middle of the Grand Bazaar of Absalom, a sprawling shopping area filled with hundreds of different vendors of all these different shapes and sizes. Like, if you want an object, you're probably going to find it somewhere at the Grand Bazaar. The shop that Istin winds up going to is a place called Material Changes, which is a boutique made from white stone covered with like relief like plant-like relief vines and flowers and berries and things like that. It's run by a woman named Iltara Clavella, who is not present at the time that Istin gets there, and instead a trio of kobolds greet Istin as he comes into the room. And there are not a lot of customers here at this time, perhaps because of the heat wave. And they introduce themselves. They say, "Dropped my mouse on the floor." Okay. They
That's
say,
a weird thing for kobolds to say.
yeah, they say it in my voice too, which is weird. They introduce themselves like, "I am Agra. I am Duglo. I am Tudre." As they say, and in unison, "How may we help you find a beautiful item to re-beautify yourself?"
Show me your absolute best wigs of holding, eh?
Ah, they turn towards each other and sort of whisper back and forth. And they say, "I think that you would love this one." And they show you a very conservative short wig of just a shock of black hair going back. Like, it's not much of a wig.
Oh, no. This will never do. If I know Trill at all, We've got to have something vibrant and lively and ideally capable of change.
You want something that changes colors. An interesting question. Perhaps you would like this. And the three of them in unison whip this purple cloth off of this bell jar, holding this pearlescent, pinkish, blondish, color-changing wig. It's like you almost hear like a in the air as this thing appears to you.
It will be Trills. Oh, yes. It will be Trills.
I was just waiting.
It sounds like iridescent the way you described it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Iston has to like slap his hand over his mouth and go, oh, my God, it's perfect.
And it can be yours for 45 gold pieces.
It's a bargain at twice the price.
Okay, 90 gold pieces.
I suppose I walked into that one. Can we go back though, or is this a hard doubling?
Agra turns to you and says, "Hold on a moment. Let me speak with my boss." They turn to Duglo and Tudre, and they do this nonsensical conversation, just completely wasting everybody's time. They say, "Okay. For you, we will do it. 45 gold pieces."
Sold. And Iston counts out 45 gold and passes it over.
How does it get wrapped up? Like, I'm really curious how it's going to get presented to Trill now.
They're like, "Would you like to wear it out, or should we wrap it up for you?"
Oh, I think you're going to need to wrap it up. And I'm imagining that scene in Love Actually where Rowan Atkinson
Oh my
is
gosh.
doing doing the incredibly elaborate gift wrapping.
Yes, and that's exactly what happens as Agra
Tales.
chats you up. Agra's like, "So, where are you in town from?"
Well, I grew up here, but actually I'm out in Otari now. We're investigating a lighthouse, and it's funny because, my dad used to live in Otari, but turns out he and I weren't that close, so I didn't know about this lighthouse until recently when I went back, and we just went into his house, and boy, let me tell you, there was a lot there that I'm still going to need to
Okay, so it seems like they're taking a little bit of time getting this thing wrapped up, but
Oh, don't forget the flower petals. I definitely want the flower petals in there.
And Agra frustratedly picks up these flower petals, chucks them into the box, and says, "Okay, go!"
Who's the Rowan Atkinson in this situation?
It's definitely Iston. If there's time to waste, he will waste it.
Okay.
That's why they call him the time
The
waster.
time waster.
I believe that Love Actually is a film.
Oh no, is this another
not this
cultural
again.
reference that you don't
Oh,
know
man.
what we're talking about?
Yeah, I don't.
It's
It's
British.
It's a
There's
British
a lot
film.
of Brits in there.
Okay.
Well, it's not,
Ah.
I'll get to it.
Feel it in my fango.
Okay. Bill Nye is such a delight.
He is.
the best.
He plays
A
like that
treasure.
fish in that pirate movie, right?
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Cool.
That's what he plays in Love Actually, too.
Oh, he plays Davy Jones in Love
He's
Actually.
David Jones.
Kind of?
Okay.
Oh, wait, that was Bill Nye and Stevie Jones?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I had
the
no
rockstar.
idea.
So after this
Delightful.
3-day stay, this whirlwind shopping trip, connecting back to Absalom, of course, the city at the center of the world, the largest city here in Galarian. Iston returns to town with a spell book full of new property runes for his staff and an oversized box containing the most beautiful interdimensional wig you ever saw.
And one more thing, Lars, if you'll allow me.
Oh, please. I insist.
A casserole from his mother to heat up.
Oh. Not a lasagna?
Like, lasagna
well-
is a casserole, in my opinion.
It is.
That's what I was
Would,
just
would
about
it
to
be a
say.
salad, a soup, or a sandwich, though?
It's a
Sandwich
walk-
because
Sandwich.
it's bread. You know, it's
noodles is
grain.
bread, sauce
Noodles is
is
bread.
broth, and tomatoes is vegetables. It's all three. Okay, so Istin gets back, and we rejoin the slumber party, etc. And as we skip forward ahead in time once more, as all of you are potentially haunted by this vision of the red ruby pointing towards the lighthouse. And the next day, it is Serenith the 29th, and the heat has finally broken. Winds throughout the day help keep temperatures down to the low 90s. It's still extremely uncomfortable, but it is not the oppressively brutal weather situation you've had for the last few days. Right now, it is around 8 o'clock in the morning. What would you like to do?
Crooks,
Hit that
Snook-
dunge.
Snooks on route.
I was going to start with Snook.
So you head to the dungeon with a steaming package of Crooks Nooks Snooks here on this hot, another steaming toil day morning.
I will say warm fish pastry is best in the heat of summer.
Yes.
And AO does too, apparently. That part is biographical.
Well, you got to get your warm fish pastry in early in the day before things really heat up.
Mm-hmm.
So you head towards the dungeon. You walk past Stone Ring Pond, through the forest, towards the swamp. And from where should we start exploring?
I mean, should we just take the elevator down to level 5? And then walk down to... Are we at 6 now? Is that the level we're
You're
on?
on the 7th floor is the most recent floor that you have
Gosh,
been
we're down
exploring.
to the 7th. Jesus.
We were all the way down on 7, but you're right, Robin. There were small areas of the 5th floor. At various points, we've thought about going back to those 5th floor rooms. I wonder, what do y'all think? Should we just do those now on the way down kind of thing?
Trill
Yeah.
might need some convincing, honestly. I feel like Trill is now the new AO and is very
Oh.
focused on finding... My gosh, his name's so hard to say. What's his name again?
Isond Kalir.
Isond Kalir.
Let's call him Istin too.
Let's call him Jal Mesman. Well, he could be in there. Like, we don't know that he's that he's like at the lowest possible point, right? We're trying to. So anyway, if we know that who we're after is,
you know what? If Mag said that, I
Yeah.
think Trill'll be like, okay,
You know what? Maybe the room we didn't open. Let's just check that. We can save the ruby till make sure we're sure.
We found people locked in all kinds of rooms around here. There was that bounty hunter. Remember that crazy thing?
Oh yeah, we gotta figure out what the heck's going on there too.
and any room we leave unchecked could contain some horror that this lighthouse could cast out into the world if it's activated.
Like a crab that desecrates Haplo's grave.
We'll process that later.
Yeah, I don't think we have time right now.
Are you guys sure you haven't processed that yet?
You just had 2 weeks off. That's not nearly enough time
Okay.
to process something.
Yeah.
All right.
I do like the idea that Istin, who knew us for, was it 2 days before we got to town, has now like he's septupled his knowledge of us just
We've
by
for
spending.
sure known Istin way longer than Haplo.
Yes, that I just mean
longer.
like Istin from the show has been around for a number of episodes, but that was really only like 2 days of time,
Yep.
and now we've really bonded because I guess he was gone for some of it. But
You do a 3-day slumber party with somebody, you get to know them
Right.
that's true.
and all
Yeah.
of the worst features of their personality.
Trill was really mad when Istin put her underwear in the freezer.
Yeah. Anything that
Definitely.
can annoy you about a person will annoy you
Istin-
over.
It's a
Giggles
party,
every
Frank.
time you do light as a feather, stiff as a board. He's just so ticklish.
Seriously.
Stupid.
He keeps pushing the Ouija thing.
Ugh,
Worst.
Istin, we see you controlling it.
Yeah. Good at Arcana, not so good at occultism, I think.
So as you step onto the 5th floor, it sounds like you're exploring these 2 unexplored zones here, and I'll tell you where they are, and we can talk about where we're going to go first. One is in that administrator's room where you first met Chafkin. There is a small door there, And the other is where you faced that the owner of the hat of disguise that Ao has been wearing ever since. This security person, this assassin that rose as a shadow on the western side of the dungeon. There is a double door that was behind a security checkpoint that you have not yet gone through. So where do you want to go?
I mean, if he's hiding somewhere, wouldn't he, be keeping himself secure? And maybe behind some double doors?
That makes sense.
Okay, so it sounds like you're heading to these double doors.
Yeah.
So this room that you find yourself in is octagonal, and there are these double doors to the west. Then these double doors are made of iron, and there's rust covering these iron doors. As you return to the eerie quietness of the 5th floor.
Ao starts fiddling with the door and the lock and seeing if, it needs to be tampered with to be opened.
No, the door pushes open pretty easily under Ao's tampering. It seems like this door has suffered a lot of water damage. There's some kind of moisture nearby as Ao touches these rusty iron doors. And you see a tunnel that for maybe 50 feet or so is a stone tunnel, featured looking like a part of this part of the dungeon. It's, stone flagstones on the floor. But as you get deeper into this tunnel, you see that the walls have started crumbling in, and it eventually turns into a natural tunnel that gradually leads up.
Towards Baltimore.
Turns towards Baltimore, the gnomish metropolis of Baltimore. And you weave, left, right as this tunnel gradually moves upwards until eventually you find a cave-in, a wall of rubble blocking your way. Would somebody please give me a perception check?
16 on the die for a 30 for Ao.
Okay, so that 30 is enough for Ao to notice that in that cave-in, in this pile of rock, there's a piece of paper sticking out. That looks like it's maybe possible to grab a hold of.
Ao uses her mage hand to sort of hold back the rocks around the paper and her paw hand to try and get the paper out.
You pull this paper back, and it's water damaged. You've had more and more sort of moisture as you've continued to go through this tunnel. And you pull this piece of paper to your face, and it says on it, Osif Nosif.
Huh.
Carmen Rajani.
Carmen Rajani. Just on the other side of this cave-in is the Smuggler's Refuge, the place where you fought Carmen Rajani to take the cooperative blade from him.
That's cool.
Is accessible from the dungeon?
So if you'd like to,
Wild.
you can spend some time, maybe 40 total hours of work, to clear this and give yourself a shortcut into the dungeon.
Even with Mag's heft, it'd still be 40 hours.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, my take is that Trill would probably not be down to do that now, but I think it'd
Yeah.
be something worth considering at some point.
Could the mage hand make it faster?
Ao just leaves the mage hand there, moving one rock at a
Robin's
time.
like, I just don't want to say that I spent 40 hours doing this thing.
I really don't. I also don't think Trill would.
We're going to get the kobolds to help us.
What if we had Jarl Mesman's wolf and 2 grothlets and 3 kobolds? And an old guy with some mushrooms.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Mark.
Oh, well, Mark could get it done in an hour.
The more people that you have doing this task, the faster the task will go, for sure.
Well, we'll do some recruiting the next time we're coming back.
Okay. If you turn back, you walk through this windy, natural tunnel back into the Abomination vaults, and you explore the other part of the 5th floor that you had not yet ventured into. That's in this administrator's chamber. I don't know why I said that word that way. Administrator's chamber.
Administrator's chamber.
Administradores.
No, that sounds
And
great.
and if you recall, this is a room with a Davenport shoved up against that was shoved up against a door that was pythoned closed. This is a door that the mummy Chafkim told you Jafaki closed him into during like a coup that the Flesh Warpers made against his arena staff just after Belcora fell to the Rose Guard. This room, if you recall, has this is like the waiting room to get into Chafkim's office, has a fireplace that has a number of dead spiders in it. There are cobwebs all over the place. And as you approach this door that you have not yet opened, you notice that Chafkim's office has been emptied. This was a room that was defined when you came here with Vadim by just the sheer amount of paperwork. This paperwork that Chafkim had grafted onto his body to make his mummy's wrappings. All those papers are gone. It has been cleared out. If anybody would like to give me an Arcana check,
Oh.
maybe you can find out more about what was happening here.
22.
22 is enough for Isthin to look at this circle of runes on the floor and recognize that Chafkim, the mummy, must have reanimated. He came back into his corporeal form, picked up all of his paperwork, and used this portal to go somewhere else.
Don't love that.
Shouldn't be a problem. Should be
So he
fine.
escaped anyway? Oh, that's too bad.
Chafkim came back to life?
We lit him on fire.
Did
Did we?
light him on fire. Does anybody want to give me a religion check? Blind, please.
Trill will.
Vadim?
He did say, not that Isthin would have this knowledge, but didn't he say he wanted to go back to his native Osirian?
He did say that. So I just got a blind religion check from Trill.
Sounds like it worked.
And Trill doesn't have the clearest sense, but maybe gets the impression that mummies, if they're not if a ritual is not applied to them, they will rejuvenate and carry about their business. And it maybe tweaks a memory in your mind of how little regard for his own life Chafkim seemed to fight with.
Huh.
He figured that we didn't know Dispel Mummy.
I wonder if Gentle Repose would have actually, fixed that problem.
Yeah, you're not sure exactly how to have done it, but it seems as though Chafkim got away.
Damn.
And if you turn your eyes to the other door that you haven't yet explored, you push that door open, you find yourselves looking into yet another of these portal chambers covered with silvery runes. This is the portal chamber on the 5th floor.
I mean, this one we can activate pretty quick. We should be able to activate this one without crazy checks, right?
Maybe.
I'm game to try, but I'm gonna just mess my hair up in advance anyway.
I can do this one.
All yours.
Okay. So Trill prepares to cast the Awaken Portal ritual, which is going to be an hour-long activity, which is going to stretch from around 9 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the morning. Robin, what skill is Trill going to be using to awaken the portal? Arcana or diplomacy? Arcana or occultism?
Occultism.
Right. Is anybody going to join Trill casting as a secondary caster, you doing an occultism check to attempt to aid her?
I think
It's me. I will. I'm raising my hand for a visual bit.
Okay. Very good. So when Trill attempts to awaken this portal using occultism, this is going to be different, I think, from the sort of thinky kind of mathematical way that Isthin approached this problem. What is this going to look like?
So Trill's still kind of thinking about how she was able to interact with that Ruby of Lange as well, and how kind of powerful that felt with some of her intrinsics. And she's going to think back to that energy radiating and with her lute create more of a humming sound that makes this resonating magically powerful music. So where she's trying to essentially get the music to like vibrate along with the all of the sigils in this elevator. I'm
Okay.
gonna call it an elevator.
And
still.
how is
like
Ao supporting this as a secondary caster?
I think she's kind of just flapping around. Maybe she's got a little gauze out that she's kind of waving. I think she's not taking it super seriously. Like, I think she thinks this is easy. I guess the gauze kind of gave that away. But she's kind of just like
checks out.
vibing.
Okay. Let's start with, as this hour proceeds and this song and this gestural gauze dance continues over the course of the hour, let's get Ao's secondary check first.
It's a 25.
Okay. That 25 is a failure,
Wow.
That's not good.
which means that Trill is going to get a -4 circumstance penalty to her check.
Oh dang.
This is brutal.
No.
But didn't we
Five
do
would be
some of these
okay.
where we just like activated them and now they're all
this
hard?
is, listen, if it's anybody's
Well, hand
fault,
wave this one. It would be much
if it's
easier.
anybody's fault, it's mine. You're right. That's the way to make it truly attainable.
Yeah. I'm curious. They're very hard
They're very
to
hard,
activate.
very hard to activate. So Trill is going to have to do a heck of a
I
roll.
mean, I essentially need a 20 on a die, I think.
Let's see.
Look,
Go to that
Lars
Westport
making a
Library
face.
page. Come back. You can make it happen.
deep cut. Okay, so it's an 18 on the die for 32.
A 32.
But then
you
we
say.
need to subtract 4.
And that is enough.
Phew.
This sound continues reverberating around the room. Trill's song reaches a crescendo and all these silver
We're doing
runes-
it, Trill, Ao says unhelpfully.
She waves gauze in her face.
Yeah, maybe Trill's eye sort of flinches for a second at Ao's like half-committed cavorting with
Gauze
gauze.
dance.
It's weird that didn't help. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's enough to bring this portal online. So
Fabulous.
for that, I'm going to give a hero point to both Ao and Trill for their participation.
Oh.
Wow.
I think we can all agree maybe Trill deserves that a little more than Ao.
It's a team effort.
And with that, it seems as though you have fully uncovered the secrets of the 5th floor of the Abomination vaults. Aside from the area with that trap that nearly killed you, but forget about it.
No one's going back there. Let's go wake the Gug up again instead.
Yeah, what if we took the Gug with us?
So where do you go now?
Back to the Gug.
Okay.
I mean, not actually to the Gug, but back to the 7th floor, yeah?
Seems right.
Definitely.
what entrance to the 7th floor are you taking? Are you going down that large central circular hallway, the one that is just below the lighthouse? Or are you going back down that back door where you met Sanemi the bounty hunter?
I'm okay with the circular one.
Which is not the one we did last time.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like the main entrance, sort of, or it seemed more main.
Yeah, a
But
little front door here.
Yeah. So you head back down the stairs into that circular chamber. And as you look around, it seems that some things have changed and some things have remained the same. There is still rubble blocking your pathway forward on the stair leading down. The door with the 12-foot wide pentagram is still standing there resolutely. You can see that the body of Nancy the Grothlet, who fell to the Gug on the eastern side of this room, the body of that Grothlet has been cleaned up, as has all of the juice left behind by Nancy when she exploded.
Poor, brave, sweet Nancy.
You see that there is another inscription below the inscription that you saw before, the one that said, "Do not disturb if you value your limbs." There's something else that has been written there.
Does it say, no, seriously, don't come in here?
Or else?
As you turn to take a look at that, you hear the sound of marching coming up behind you from the west. What will you do?
Is there anywhere to conceal ourselves, duck?
I think we go
Way?
south, right? Seems
Or
like the
we
best.
could hide in the magical transport room that we couldn't activate.
What do you do?
Is that close by?
It's just to the north of us, yeah.
Can we all fit in there?
I mean, put Trill in a bag.
Where are we going? I need somebody to make a choice.
So Mag ducks around the corner. You said the sound's coming from the west?
Yes.
So yeah, Mag ducks around the corner to the south.
Okay. And what are you
Beautiful.
trying to avoid notice as you're doing that, or are you just sort of holding still?
I guess avoiding. I don't really know the difference mechanically, but I guess yeah.
If you,
trying to
avoiding notice is
not
like you
be
make a
seen.
stealth check to try to let people not see you, basically.
Oh yeah, I mean I think that's the idea. If someone's going to surprise someone, we want to be the ones surprising whatever this patrol is.
Could Ao do that and others take her lead? Maybe she turns into like a rock-like creature that blends in with the wall.
A rock-like creature
Cool.
that blends in with the wall. Gosh, what's a
Well,
good rock creature? A stone golem? Do you want to
There we
turn
go.
into a stone?
That won't stand out at all. Giant golem.
I don't know.
I mean, she honestly might just be sort of humanoid, but texturing her skin stone-like. I mean, like, it
Okay.
could be a monster, but I think it's more about, it's more how, like, an octopus quickly looks like the rock it's on than it is, like, becoming it's skin
Okay.
texture.
So it's like you're trying to use some of your disguise to maybe give yourself like a boost to your stealth check, basically.
Yeah, and to,
Okay.
like, have that be the first thing someone sees instead of, say, Mag's hulking form,
Okay.
which might be more of a giveaway.
So are other people following Ao's lead then?
Trill will do her own stealth check.
Okay.
Mag will also camouflage herself to look like a stone. No, yes, stealth check. Maybe not hiding behind Ao. That doesn't sound right, but trying to blend in as well.
Okay.
So Willis then.
Okay.
Oh, can we follow the leader?
Yes, go ahead and follow the leader. You add, if you're following the leader, you essentially take your dex modifier and you add your level 7 plus 2 for the if the person you're following is an expert. So it's your
Okay.
dex plus 9.
Okay.
And then you roll a d20. So let's get that from Mag real quick.
Sure. Plus dex plus level plus 2. All right, that's a 14 from the roll, so a 24 total.
Okay. Can I get the rest of those stealth checks? And we'll do those out in the open, please. And we'll give Ao a +1 circumstance bonus for the stonish skin.
Ao rolled just an 18, and I think she's actually going to hero point that.
Okay.
Use them or lose them in a while.
Oh my god, are you effing kidding me? The 17.
+1, 18.
An 18.
How did Trill do?
Well, Trill also rolled a 2 on the die, so Trill's got a 15. And I'm just going to, see what happens with that one.
And what did Isthin roll? I don't know if we got that.
23.
Okay, so what that means is...
Following the expert.
Yeah.
I think every time Mag has followed the expert, she's done better than Ao on the thing.
It's a placebo effect.
So what that means is that as you're hiding around the corner, you see marching in like military formation, a quartet of flesh-warped creatures. 2 Dreshkins, the Morlocks with the spider legs coming out from their backs, electric arcs coursing all over their bodies. And you see 2 of a creature that you fought a long time ago. A glassy-skinned, sort of steroidal, warped, like enormous, muscular humanoid creature known as a Mulvintok. And you look at it and you see its heart beating boom, 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 boom through its glassy skin. And the Dreshkin turns, not seeing Isthin and Mag as they hide around the corner, seeing a stone-skinned Ao and a bouffanted Trill. And they say, "Nyang, nyang, bonabo." And they, in perfect military formation, lurch forward to attack. And we will pick up from there next time.
Oh no, this is bad.
Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy, using trademarks and copyrights owned by Paizo that are covered under that policy. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way, and we are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. All original characters and content in the Roots of Ruin are the property of Tabletop Gold, and all rights are reserved. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. On our website, tabletopgold.com, you can learn more about us and our shows, pick up great merch, and connect to the best online community in all of podcasting. Thanks for listening.